As far as braking, so some of the newer ambulances are equipped with the anti-lock brakes, so you don't necessarily pump the brakes if you're trying to come to a quick stop, but braking is actually something you need to pay attention to. You have a partner and a patient in the back, so you really want to brake slowly and smoothly. Never brake on a curve. Brake going into curves and accelerate moving out of them. You can usually get away with braking in a curve and accelerating into curves in a car, but in the ambulance it's big. The center of gravity is in a different position, and if you start braking in curves, you can send the back out and go into a spin. So don't do that. As far as railroads, so there are some railroads in the area. Be aware of where they are and find if there's another place to cross. Wait out long trains if there's no over or underpass within a reasonable distance. School buses. So here's the thing. If red lights are flashing, you want to stop and wait until the driver motions you on. If he doesn't motion you on, you basically want to slow down and creep around him with the lights and sirens on. And there is no law against passing a school bus. But if you run over somebody, that's on you. So don't run over anybody. And make sure that you go through slowly. School zones, again, no real laws against it, but it's generally advised that you slow down to the speed limit. You don't have to turn your lights and sirens off, you just need to slow down. Bridges and tunnels. So the ability to pass on a bridge or in a tunnel could be limited. You may consider alternate routes if traffic's heavy. You also need to make sure that the height of the bridge will accommodate your ambulance. As far as traffic patterns, so learn the traffic flow patterns in your area based on time of day of week, and locations, and be sure to plan for alternate routes through or past specific problem areas. Road surface. This is something you really get to know. I can tell you where a lot of potholes are in downtown Austin. Because that's the area that I worked in a lot, and it's really bumpy and uncomfortable on patients when you hit potholes. They tend to complain about you when you do that. So pay attention to irregularities in the road surface, like bumps or potholes, speed bumps, anything. The inner lanes of multi-lane highways are usually the smoothest, so try to stick to the inner lanes. So now I'm going to talk about hydroplaning. So hydroplaning occurs on wet roads at speeds generally greater than 35 miles an hour, but not always. It depends on how good your tires are. Water causes loss of contact between the tire and the road surface. If you're unable to see tread marks of the car ahead of you in the water on the highway, there's a risk of hydroplaning. Slow down, lightly tap the brakes to ensure that the brakes are dry. Backing up. So this is really important. Always, always, always have someone spot the driver while backing the ambulance. Always. More stuff has been damaged, more garage doors, more ambulances, more everything has been damaged because people back up without a backer. Take the time, stop, let your partner out to back you up and make sure that you're not going to hit anything. Escorts. So escorts are when you have another emergency vehicle, usually a police car, that goes with you, lights and sirens, to the hospital. These are actually extremely dangerous. It seems like, oh, police are going to go clear the way for me. But they don't. What happens is that people see one emergency vehicle go by and they assume that that's it. Oh, there goes a police car. Okay, I can go through the red light now. And they don't see the ambulance that's coming up behind it. So use these only if you're really unfamiliar with the location of a patient or a hospital. Allow safe distance between the escort vehicle and the ambulance, but don't get too far behind. All right, so vehicle accidents. You can see in this picture that ambulance did not do well in this accident. I'd be really concerned about the safety of the people driving and the passenger in the front. So the high-risk locations are intersections, highway access, so on-ramps and off-ramps. And speeding does contribute to our accident risk. The most common place for an ambulance to have a collision is in an intersection. The causes could be the other drivers that are timing lights and don't notice, emergency vehicles that are following each other, multiple emergency vehicles that converge on the same location, motorists that go around stop traffic, and then there can be pedestrian-related accidents. And this is actually something significant. Pedestrians in a crosswalk can be obstructed by other vehicles. And we don't always think to look for pedestrians. But if you're in an area that has any foot traffic whatsoever, you have to get in the habit of looking for and checking for pedestrians in crosswalks because they're really hard to see in the ambulance. So slow down at intersections. Ensure that the other drivers have seen you and stopped before you proceed. Check every vehicle in every lane. If the vehicle in the front is stopped, make sure you make eye contact with the driver and that they see you. If there's no vehicle in the lane, you need to proceed carefully and make sure that you can see the traffic coming in that lane before you proceed through it. Alright, so you've made it through all the intersections and you're approaching the scene. Where do I park? So first, ensure the scene is secure or safe. You want to park about 100 feet from the wreckage. You want to park in front of the wreckage or the scene, beyond it, about 100 feet beyond it. This will allow crews to safely exit the vehicle, and it makes it easier to get the patient into the ambulance if you've pulled past the scene. Theoretically, a fire truck or some other large vehicle should come and block the scene from the behind. So basically, if traffic's coming up toward the scene, there should be a fire truck and then the accident scene and then the ambulance. And that's going to create the safest scene for you. You should park uphill from leaking hazards. Be sure to set your parking brake and keep those warning lights on. So after a run, you've gotten your patient, you took him to the hospital, got him all transferred over, and now it's time to clean up. You want to clean and disinfect your equipment, clean and disinfect the unit. Anything that was touched by you or the patient needs to be wiped down. You're going to restock the unit as necessary and refuel if you need fuel. Don't forget that. You don't want to run out of fuel. Alright, so that's our lecture on ambulance operations. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, be sure to bring them into class. Thank you.